I'm gonna be in the ring different. Like I say to him in Spanish, he needs 20 like him to give me a little problems.
Excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch.
Canelo Alvarez means to the Mexican fans what Floyd Money Mayweather meant for black people.
At a live press conference, Canelo Alvarez gave a strong message to Terence Crawford, saying he was sure he could beat him. Canelo said his experience and skills were much better, and he felt confident because of the difference in their weight classes. He pointed out that Crawford is from a smaller weight division and wouldn't be much of a challenge. Canelo made it clear that his size, strength, and experience would help him win, and he saw the fight as a chance to show he is still one of the best in boxing.
Bud Crawford, just won his debut at 154. Said if the money's right, we'll fight. Everybody wants that fight. What do you feel about that matchup? People saying the weight, all this stuff. How do you feel about that?
You know, everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights class less than me. But if the money is right, why not? Right? Why not? But look, I'm focused 100% on Berlanga. I know I have a challenge in front. I never overlook any fighter. So I'm focused 100% in this, and then we'll see.
Canelo, who holds the undisputed super middleweight title, has shown great power, accuracy, and strong defense throughout his career. He knows how to control the fight and stay in charge, which makes him a top fighter in his division. Crawford, on the other hand, is known for his speed, smart moves, and ability to fight in different styles. He has been a champion in many weight classes and can switch between orthodox and southpaw stances easily. His sharp thinking in the ring helps him find and use openings against his opponents. This fight between Canelo's power and experience and Crawford's speed and skill is expected to be exciting and could become a big moment in boxing history.
When Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about light heavyweight, he moved up and he beat Kobe. Then he moved up again and he lost to Bivol. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he moves up to 154. He won 115, 113, but it was just an 11-0 Madrimov who didn't really have much of a resume, right? But there's a difference, to be real. I mean, Bivol is a Hall of Fame. Okay, this guy, you know, all-time light heavyweight. It's a bit different. Canelo did knock out Kovalev when he did move up. Okay, and Kovalev is a bigger challenge at light heavyweight than Madrimov at 154 for Terence Crawford. Let's just keep it a big.
Trainer Joel Diaz has pointed out how important size is in boxing, especially when smaller fighters move up to fight bigger ones. He said that even one punch from a naturally heavier fighter can change the fight completely, as the bigger fighter is used to stronger hits. This point becomes very important when looking at the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Diaz explained that while Crawford has great skill and can adjust well in the ring, moving up 2 weight classes to face someone like Canelo is a big challenge. Canelo is a natural super middleweight, which means he has the advantage in size, strength, and experience fighting bigger opponents. Even though Crawford is fast and smart, Diaz believes those strengths might not be enough. In this fight, being able to take strong punches is key, and Alvarez's experience with that could give him the upper hand.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov is a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
Canelo Alvarez's journey to the top shows his courage in facing tough opponents in different weight classes. His wins against bigger fighters have proven that he is strong, smart, and determined in the ring. But Canelo means more than just his boxing skills. He is a symbol of hope and pride for many Mexican fans, much like how Floyd Mayweather Jr. is admired in the Black community. Born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Canelo's rise from a simple background connects with many people. His story is one of hard work and dreams coming true, inspiring others and bringing pride to his country.
Canelo is beating these guys with all 5 layers of defense. Number 1, feet. Number 2, elbows, hands, shoulders, and the mind. This is exactly how both of those guys got to the highest level of boxing supremacy. Canelo Alvarez means to the Mexican fans what Floyd Money Mayweather meant for Black people. 50 wins in boxing, no losses, no draws. And follow for more.
Shawn Porter, a former welterweight champion who once fought Terence Crawford, has shared his thoughts about Crawford going up against Canelo Alvarez. While Porter respects Crawford's toughness, he's not sure if Crawford can handle the power of a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo. He explained that taking punches from a larger man is a different kind of challenge, and the weight difference could make a big impact on the fight. Porter believes that Crawford's best chance might be to avoid getting into close exchanges and use a lot of movement to stay away from Canelo's power. He also pointed out that even though Crawford has done well against strong welterweights, moving up to super middleweight is a much harder task. Porter's comments show how complicated this fight could be, and how important it will be for Crawford to use smart tactics and adapt to the bigger challenge in front of him.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So
promoter Eddie Hearn has called the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford a freak fight because of the big weight difference between them. Crawford, who normally fights at welterweight and light middleweight, will be moving up to super middleweight to face Canelo, who is a natural in that division. Hearn mentioned that on fight night, Canelo might weigh around 185 to 190 pounds, while Crawford could be about 168 to 170 pounds. This shows a clear size and power advantage for Canelo. Even though Crawford is highly skilled and has made history by becoming the first male boxer to be undisputed in 2 weight classes, Hearn still doubts if he can beat such a size difference. He said that even if Crawford fights well, the weight gap could be too much to handle. Hearn also added that if Canelo wins, it might not mean as much because of how different their natural sizes are.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement. If you're Terence Crawford in that fight, the last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Yeah.
You know.
Dan Rafael, a well-known boxing expert, has shared his detailed thoughts on the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, set for September 12, 2025 in Las Vegas. He sees this matchup as a major moment in boxing history, with 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters facing each other. Crawford's choice to move up to super middleweight to challenge Canelo shows his strong confidence and hunger to prove himself. Rafael explained that Crawford is known for his smart boxing, quick thinking, and ability to adjust during fights. But moving up in weight brings new challenges. Fighting at 168 pounds is different from what Crawford is used to, and he'll have to deal with more power and strength from bigger fighters. This change could make things more difficult for him in the ring. On the other hand, Canelo is already a strong and smart fighter in the super middleweight division. Rafael said Canelo's experience, control of the ring, and ability to handle tough moments make him a very hard opponent to beat. Canelo has been in this weight class for a while and knows how to use his size and power to his advantage. This fight is not just about winning or belts, it's about legacy. If Crawford wins, he could become a 5-division world champion and one of the greatest boxers ever. If Canelo wins, beating someone as skilled as Crawford will add even more to his already impressive career. Both fighters are putting their reputations and legacies on the line. Canelo also hopes this fight will be exciting for the fans. He was disappointed with his last match against William Skull, which had very few punches and was seen as boring. Canelo wants the fight with Crawford to be action-packed and fun to watch. He expects Crawford to bring his best so they can give the fans a fight to remember.
What's your message to fighters who will fight you in the future? Obviously not Crawford, but with that kind of mindset, they just want to last the distance.
That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show, you know? You know what I mean?
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not, because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this win and then we think. Yeah. Do it.
What did you think of Ryan Garcia's performance yesterday?
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. believes the result of the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford will depend on how smart Alvarez is in the ring. He says if Canelo takes Crawford lightly or doesn't stick to a good game plan, he could lose. Jones explains that Canelo needs to use his size and power the right way, but also respect Crawford's skills. Crawford is smart, can adjust quickly, and will take advantage of any mistakes. So Canelo must be careful and fight with a clear strategy if he wants to win.
This is Jonathan Agioff here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by, does he need any introduction, Hall of Fame legend Roy Jones Jr. here in the UK. There's a few questions about the US guys. Obviously, Tank and Lamont Roach, we saw the first fight, Lamont Roach shot the world. What do you think happens in a rematch if they fight?
I think he shocks the world again. But the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation. And I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
And obviously we know if Canelo wins against William Skull, he will fight Terence Crawford in September. Who would you favour in that fight?
You know, it's a hard one to call. And I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the dance.
Edgar Berlanga has shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, calling it a mismatch because of the big difference in weight. While he respects Crawford's skills and boxing intelligence, Berlanga believes that Canelo's size at super middleweight could be a major factor. He pointed out that even though Crawford is mentally tough and more skilled than Canelo's last opponent, Jermell Charlo, the physical gap may be too big to ignore. Berlanga said the fight would be more balanced if Crawford were naturally a 168-pound fighter, or if Canelo was closer to 147 pounds. Still, Berlanga doesn't doubt Crawford's greatness. He said Crawford is one of the best in the world and might be able to win if he were bigger. He also understands why the fight is happening, mentioning the huge money involved and the historic nature of two undisputed champions facing off. However, Berlanga warned that the size difference could be a big problem and might affect how competitive the fight will be.
My good friend, my brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that favor Canelo is that, you know, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you can't count him out. You know what I'm saying?
Ryan Garcia is confident that Canelo Alvarez will win the upcoming fight against Terence Crawford. He points to Canelo's size and his deep understanding of boxing as big advantages. Garcia believes weight classes exist for a reason and says Crawford's fight at 154 pounds against Israil Madrimov did not show the strength needed to compete at 168 pounds with a champion like Canelo. He said, Crawford can't beat Canelo. He didn't look that strong against Madrimov, and Madrimov isn't even big. Garcia feels Canelo's mastery of his style and experience in the ring will give him the edge. Garcia's view reflects a common opinion in the boxing world that the size and experience gap between Alvarez and Crawford could decide the fight. While he respects Crawford's skills and hard work, Garcia believes that Canelo's mix of size, power, and ring smarts makes him the likely winner. Some fans and experts have criticized Crawford's choice to fight Canelo. They think Crawford is more interested in the big payday and attention he could get than in the challenge itself. Moving up 2 weight classes to face Canelo is seen by some as a business move to earn more money and boost his reputation. Despite these doubts, Crawford says he wants this fight because he wants to test himself against the best. He says his motivation is not just money, but to face a tough challenge and prove he belongs at the top level of boxing.
Just a few weeks ago, you heard what Terence "Bud" Crawford had to say on why he wants to take on Saul Canelo Alvarez.
I just want the opportunity, you know, to fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. You know, he's the most accomplished fighter, and I would just, you know, just like to, you know, fight another great.
Which is a very noble reason. I mean, it's a reason that I can get behind. If you notice, his primary reason isn't money. He did say it'll be the biggest fight, which, you know, you do want a big fight, but I don't think he meant monetarily, which the money comes, okay? But what he's saying is he want to test himself versus the best. And I think he's telling the truth here, right? Of course you want big money and stuff like that, but I think his swan song is just him testing himself up against the very best. Those are the reasons the war room can get behind.
Terence Crawford has said that his goal to fight Canelo Alvarez comes from both wanting a tough challenge and the financial benefits. He believes that when the right business chance comes, the fight will happen. Crawford sees this match as a way to build his legacy and earn a big payday. Because fighting a famous boxer like Canelo brings a lot of attention, even though some people doubt his reasons, Crawford says facing the best is a natural step in his career. He thinks this fight matches both his goals in boxing and in business.
Canelo fight, you know, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. You know, I think business talk. You know, with the right business come across the table, you know, it happened. I just be talking, man. Canelo a big dude, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I believe in my abilities. He's a heavy dude, but he's not a big guy. Like, he's 5'8", I'm 5'8", you know what I mean? My arm's longer than his, you know? So that fight would be good.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.